Let's head out to the van and talk electrics. Horrible, dreary day, it's drizzly. Let's head into Victor. Oh, the next video is going to be about the alarm system, so make sure you stay tuned for that one. So we've got 200 amp hours of lithium, 700 watts of solar on the roof, 3000 watt inverter, two 30 amp DC to DC chargers, and 30 amp MPPT controller as well. I'm pointing over there because that's where it all is. What that enables me to do is be completely off grid, so we're not hooked into the house at all. Let's turn the inverter on. So follow me this way. We're using a Renogy inverter, so we'll switch the inverter on. And then we'll see the coffee machine fired up. Now this pretty much lives in the van. Every time I go away, lives in the van. So let's turn her on. Now my leisure batteries, the lithiums, I've got polynoval. So you go into the app and you can actually see it's at 100% charge right now. You can see how much power you're going to be pulling. So this number, double it, because I've got two batteries. So this is only the reading for one battery. So right now we're pulling what? So 2 times, let's say 40 amps, that's 80 amps. So you can see it's just working its magic. Hopefully you can see that okay. So 100 amps it's pulling, and go back to this screen, not even moved. So that's the coffee machine's warm-up cycle. So let's go and ditch that water. So we'll throw that down the sink. So we've also got the microwave up there. We'll run that in a minute. But this is just to show you I can do anything in this van that I want to. I can literally live like I'm at home. So let's go for a big cup. Grinding away. Again, let's show you the power consumption. So again, double that number. It's going to be heating the water now. So we're pulling 60 amps right now, 100 amps, making lovely warm coffee. Still pulling 100 amps. Go back to this one, still on 99%. 104 amps. So this is really what I set it up to be. I can plug the e-bikes in, not worry about them being charged. Although we'll come to the e-bikes in a minute, because there's a bit more maths involved. We'll wait for that to finish. But you can see 104 amps. We've just dropped 98%. So each lithium battery has got 1,280 watts of energy inside. So that's how much the 100 amp hour lithium battery can take. My e-bike battery, so one each e-bike battery, is 625 watts. So your 1,280, take away the 625, that's how much energy your bike battery will take from that lithium battery. It'll be slightly more than that because you're running through the inverter, so you're going to have some losses there. Essentially, my two leisure batteries, so my two lithiums, will charge the two e-bike batteries, plus run everything else once, which is why I then went for huge solar on the roof, because that then fills the leisure batteries back up as quickly as possible. I've not even checked to see how much solar we're pulling, although it's not going to pull too much because the batteries are full. So let's do something else to drain some power. Can we see that? There we go. Hopefully you can see that. Let's have a look. So we've got the icon up there for the Truma. Let's go onto electric 2 so we can all see that. Let's go hot water. hot. Let's make sure we've got water. We do. So now let's go back to my phone and see what sort of power we are pulling. So nothing just yet. It's probably doing its business. But this will definitely give you an idea of what's possible. There we go. So my 2 lithium batteries, so double that number, 120 amps, because we're heating the hot water. So started off at just 2 minutes to 5. Still pulling. And it takes about 40 minutes to heat the hot water from electric, but it does use quite a bit of power. But the reason we're doing that is really because we want to go into here, into the Victron app. So on a rubbish day, we are pulling, and it is a really rubbish day. There's no, I mean, it's drizzle, it's cloud. I mean, it's nasty out there. At the panel, we're pulling 0.7 amps at 70 volts, but we're putting in just under 4 amps. Now, I've got the 30 amp controller. Those 700 panels on a half decent day will spike at 30 amps and just sit there. So really I could do with upgrading to the 50, but I don't think I'm going to bother. I think I'd rather have them sitting at 30 amps all day long for the good season, and then in the bad season they're probably 20 odd amps. But yeah, on a drizzly horrible day, 3.9 amps. This Victron app's brilliant because it shows you both, well, they're both turned off, both of your battery to batteries, what they're doing. As you can see, they're both off. I've got a Victron mains charger, but I'm not on mains. So let's take you under the seat to show you where the magic is. First things first, slurp of coffee. Perfect. Right, let's go under and have a look. Let's remove these cushions. Remove that one, stand that over there. So, here is where the magic happens. We've got DC to DC, 30 amps, another DC to DC, 30 amps, and the MPPT, 30 amps. Renogy 3000 watt inverter. This little gadget is a temperature sensor that is, the sensor is actually located under the middle unit. They're all screwed onto an aluminium plate, and that aluminium plate is lifted off the ground. You can see it under there. It's got the Victron mains charger just there. You've got 2 fans, or 2 pairs of fans, so 1 pair here, 1, 2, 1, 2. Those 4 fans kick in when that hits, I think I set it down to 24 degrees maybe. So when this temperature inside this gets up to 24 degrees, those fans kick in and cool it down. There's enough airflow. There's a huge fuse there. Under there you've got a void that goes under this false floor. You've got a small hole there, and then if we look up the back there, you've got a huge void that goes behind this cushion, so it can never be blocked. So there's enough airflow in there. So my lithium batteries are located under this seat, so I've got the 2 100 amp hours underneath there. There's enough space for them. Other half sweets. What else? I've chose this inverter. That's what we'll say. This inverter is great because it has AC bypass. So this plug here is connected to the mains socket on the side of the van. So when I'm on hookup, power comes up to here, runs through here, through that black lead, through the inverter, back out the inverter and around the van. You don't have to do anything. It's just got an AC bypass. As soon as you disconnect from the campsite, it switches back to battery if it's left switched on, which I think is a great feature. So let's close this down, or do we? No, let's pull the sensor out just so you can see. Okay, sensor is out. So this is the temperature sensor for the fans. So let's kick that back in again. So all I'm going to do is hold the sensor. You can see the temperature rise. There we go. And the fans have kicked in. So I'll poke that back down there. So yeah, both fans, both pairs of fans have kicked in. And then they've just turned off. So it's been about 7 minutes. It's now 5:05. Let's dive into the battery. And we're still pulling 63.5 amps. That's 120, just shy of 130 amps. And we went from 98% down to 91%. So I worked out it was using about, when I last done this test, 2% a minute. I don't think it's worth heating hot water from electric. It just uses too much energy. It takes forever to put that energy that you've just used back into it. So, you know, it's great for dropping power quickly like we're doing now. But what I really use this for, and this is, yeah, so solar, even still on the rubbish day, 3.2 amps at 5. So yeah, 3.3. So let's go and turn the hot water back off. And the feature I use most is, let's switch this back off. There we go. So the fans are just kicking in on the inverter. So back to gas. So all I'm doing is switching back to gas. Hot water is off. So we leave it like that. What I do use this for is when I'm traveling, I stick the fridge on mains because it uses, come back to the phone, so it uses about 12 amps, 13 amps. So on a summer's day, I can just sit there all day long. Solar's powering my fridge, mains fridge as well. So it's not a compressor fridge, it's just a bog standard Dometic AES fridge. So yeah, no wizardry at all. That reminds me of coffee. Perfect. And what else can we do? We can, let's get a mug, the other half's mug. Put it just there. Fill it up with water. And we'll put it in the microwave. So the fridge is still running. So you can see it's, you know, we'll bang it up to maximum just so we're really pushing it. Let's put the microwave on. Let's go back to the readings. So again, remember to double that. So that's what, 74, 75 amps with the mic, so 76, and the microwave's on maximum. And we're still 89%. Again, that's gone a lot faster because the water heater. But if we leave that on for 5 minutes on the microwave, you'll see it barely touches it. Yeah, so nothing exciting happens really. Now cost-wise, the, obviously Google everything, the inverter was about 300 quid. So 300 quid, 200 quid, 200 quid, just shy of 200 quid. About a tenner, 15 quid, 20 quid a piece I think. Fuses, I don't know, 40 quid, because you've got a couple on the battery as well. Fans, you know, get good fans. I think, I forget how much this was. Again, this is Bluetooth. Yeah, I can't remember how much that was. Batteries were, I think, about £600 a piece. Might be slightly more, might be £800 a piece. But from experience, I've been down the lead acid route in the T5. When I first started out, I had box standard 100 amp hour lead acid battery. You know, I think it was a 150 watt solar panel. Just ran out of power all the time. I was using a compressor fridge, but just couldn't hold the power that I wanted. Wasn't charging bikes at that point. Still wasn't happy with it. Went up to a big Varta leisure battery. This thing was great, but it was 50 kilos. So sticking 50 kilos in the back of a transporter, you know it's there. That lasted 3 years. South of France, red hot temperatures. It came to the end of its life. Probably done 500 cycles, so I would say that's pretty good going. That then pushed me down the lithium route, because I spent, I want to say the Varta battery was 200 and something pounds. So I'm spending quite good money on batteries, but they're just not performing like you would expect. Ooh, that mug of water's hot. It's not going to do any that is really hot. Bollocks, that is hot. You can see, I don't know whether you can see the steam or not. So, turn that off. So I can't remember what it was when we started it, but it's 87% now. So now let's turn the fridge off. No, off. And let's turn the inverter off as well. So that just kind of kills everything, so you don't have to rook around under the seat. So yeah, what was I saying? Lead acid batteries. Yeah, I was spending, you know, a decent amount of money on a battery, but it was damn heavy. So I didn't want to go and replace it for exactly the same. I wanted more performance. So that led me to get my first lithium battery. The performance was fantastic, but it was before Bluetooth BMSs. The internal computer couldn't tell you this information, what's going on. So you were almost running it blind, which then led me to buy my second lithium battery, which has this BMS. And it really is fantastic, because I know when we go away how much power I've got left and what I can and can't do. But I know that I can plug the e-bikes in, I can charge them a couple of times when we're away. If we have great solar, that would be, the battery's charge in no time at all. Well, 30 amps an hour, so you do the maths. There's not really much else to say. Yeah, the cost is big, but you can spend a lot of money on rubbish stuff and never be happy with it. So just spend it right the first time round, get it done. I think the solar panels I paid £90 each for, and they're exactly the same as the size on the T5. Can't really see it back there. They're just big and slotted into the big gap up there. I have lost the skylight above, but we can sleep this end if it gets too hot. It's no biggie. What else is there to say? Yeah, so make sure you stay tuned for the next video, because it is going to be on the alarm system. which will gives you that.